Hi, it's Abby and Carolyn with the Bead Place, and today we're going to show you how to make these knotted leather bracelets. So here's Carolyn, and she's got sunglasses on because this project is so cool. Okay, so she has opened one of our packages of 1.5 millimeter leather cord. She's going to use the whole package on this project, so that's 2 meters of leather. And what she's going to do is thread the button all the way to the center of the leather cord. So she has one of our tier cast buttons. You could use any button that you want. You could even use a different type of clasp. The buttons we just find are pretty easy to use. Shank buttons work too. So she's just going in one side and out the other of the button and threading it to the middle of the leather. So she also has some European style beads, so those are the beads that have the large holes that fit on the snake chain bracelets. And what she's going to do is tie an overhand knot right below the button.
Taking care not to cross.
Yep, that's a very good point. Make sure that you're not crossing your leather. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is that you want to keep all of your knots facing the same direction. That way the leather will curl in the same direction and make a circle shape for your wrist. So you don't want to tie your knot super tight. You want to keep it kind of loose. Let me zoom in on that for a second and show the guys. Here we go. So about that tension, and that's what it should look like. So she's going to string a bead on now. And she has 12 beads here, and that's what comes in the kit. Some people only need to use 8, some people need to use 10, and it also depends on the tension that you're working with as well. So she's tying another overhand knot, and she's going to try to keep the keep the tension of the knots pretty consistent. So there we go. And notice how she's kind of closing that knot down close to the bead. She's just pushing the knot and placing it so that it's pretty close and there's not a big space. There we go. So we're going to do one more and we'll kind of concentrate on the technique of the knot. And then we'll show you what to do for the rest of the bracelet. So what she's doing is she's making a loop with the leather. Not yet. So she's making a loop that crosses over with the leather. So Carolyn, if you want to show what that little loop looks like. Perfect. And then she's going to pull the tail end through the loop. And again, we're making sure not to cross those cords.
Voila.
Voila. So there we go. And we're going to tighten the knot just slightly down to the bead. So we're going to keep doing this using the rest of the beads, and then when we get to the end of the beads, or whenever you get to the end of the bracelet where you're sure that it's going to fit you okay, then we'll move on to the next step. We're back, and Carolyn has finished knotting all of her beads. So it looks like this, with a button on one end, and then the tail on the other end. So what she's going to do is make a buttonhole, and she's just going to leave a space and tie another overhand knot. And that space just needs to be exactly the right size for her button.
Or button.
Yeah, button. Depending on where you're from, you say it differently, I suppose. Okay, so we're going to check the fit. And don't worry if you've tied a knot and your button doesn't fit, or if it's too loose, you can always untie and retie.
Or just loosen.
Or just loosen. There we go, perfect. So your last knot should be pretty tight. What we're going to do is trim the ends using our sassy scissors. Perfect. Now you have just enough leather left over to maybe do another small project, but depending on the length of your bracelet and the tension, it is important to make sure you're using the whole piece of leather on your first project. So if you want, you can you can put a little bit of glue on your last knot, and that's going to hold it in place. Otherwise, you're pretty much done as soon as you put it on. Is it that hard, Carol?
No.
There you go. Good job. Beautiful. So all the materials can be found on beadplace.net as well as the kit, and you can choose the beads and whatnot. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.